everybody, it's full spring here at the little house, but we need to roll back and catch you up on some of the things we didn't film in late winter and early spring when the going really got tough. So today we're rolling back to late winter and showing you how we finished off the inside of our timber frame addition that we call our mudroom.
So the weather this winter allowed us to push right on through and get a lot done in a season where we normally don't. So that allowed us to move on to the inside and actually finish things off, which is further than I thought we were going to get. But then it's a matter of what do we want it to look like? What do we have to get it done? And when working out of the boneyard, you kind of have to let the pile design the room. I had a bunch of 1/2 inch by 6 inch poplar boards left over from a project, and it was just enough to do the big clear wall in the mudroom. That was where we were going to hang the majority of our coats, so it's really just a background for our coats. The rest of it I was undecided, but I got into our pile of cedar that we had bought for siding the house, and I had quite a bit of 1x4 left over. These boards were not perfect. They're meant for exterior stuff, sort of rougher applications than this. But I like the way that it looked, except we had some open knot holes that you could get a finger all the way through the board. Stella, these, you can see my boards have some holes, the knot holes, and I don't want to just fill those with something like putty or wood or anything. So I thought we'd put some interesting things in there to look at, like little treasures. So we could do like a coin or a button from the button box.
Or maybe one of my beads.
Yeah, something shiny like that, but we got to come up with a good way to get it on there. It needs to cover the whole thing. So if it's a bead, pick like a
big one.
Or glue it to a piece of paper or something like that. How about you pick out 2 or 3 things to do? So this cedar was left over from doing our trim. It was rough cut and it's really not that high quality. So it had a lot of knot holes and knots that fell right out. So we have holes in our wall material, and I don't want to just look at the insulation. I also don't want to make it just a boring dowel or a big hunk of putty or something. So we're going to put things to look at. Ooh. All right. So you want to see the heart shape?
Yeah.
So I had the kids go and find little jewels and trinkets to put into all of those knot holes. So they're little things that we know are there. They're not a huge feature of the room, but you might catch out of the corner of your eye a seashell or a quarter or something inside one of those knot holes. Only we know they're there.
That's what I mean. Well, only we and whoever's watching this video. There might be a couple people.
Perfect.
So we were able to get everybody involved at some point in the process here. Esther was on the chop saw for a while. When doing a room like that, board by board, it's really nice to have somebody on the saw and somebody inside. So that's what she did. I was able to shout out numbers and they came back to me exactly right, put them right up, and we just sort of cruised along that way.
There isn't usually a lot of photographic evidence of me using tools, which is intentional because it's not one of my comfort zones, but it is really good for me to set the camera down and get in there And that's definitely what happened with the interior of the mudroom this year. I don't know how my technique is. I'm not much of a carpenter, but Nick is happy, and so I am happy.
And we had just enough to get around the room and do the vertical cedar boards on the other two walls. It smells nice. I think it looks nice. And we even had enough to get through jambs in all the windows and casing on the windows and the door. So it is more finished than the rest of the house.
Well, that window trim got in just in time because almost the very next day, the snow began to melt and Nick and I both went outside. It was almost a month later that we finally got around to what probably should have been the easiest thing of all, which was to move the hooks so we could actually hang up our coats in our new mudroom.
It is finally time to move our mess of coats and backpacks into the mudroom. It's been waiting on me to move existing hooks and make some new ones. Oh, this will probably provide plates and things. So every once in a while, my big buckets of random bolts and weird stuff actually comes in handy. So is that too challenging to get the loop of a backpack on?
No, I think it's perfect.
I'm not just collecting it to be a weirdo, but it serves two purposes. It makes me look like a weirdo, but it also becomes useful when you need, say, 4 backpack hooks and you don't want to shop for exactly the right thing. This is what are those? It was explained to me what this is. Someone out there in YouTube land, tell me what the heck that is.
The challenge is on.
I'm sure
is this?
that it's like I don't know. I can't venture a guess. So we found some little hooks. I gave them a little bend and cut the end off of them, welded them to a plate, and they're really pretty robust little hooks that can take a heavy backpack every day.
Perfectly on this bench with all the shoes if I move them up.
Well, that's not where the shoes go. I just had to move in order to.
Perfect.
So that still leaves a couple of unfinished surfaces, which we are completely used to here. The ceiling will eventually be sort of a faux tongue and groove painted surface, probably with plywood with V-grooves put in it, much like I did our ceiling in the lofts. Also, the wall of the house, the adjoining wall, we want to put a brick veneer on that surface to hopefully retain a little bit of heat that's coming in through the windows. It'll have direct light on that wall for a good part of the day, and that'll help warm up the room and retain some of that heat. The slab floor, we're undecided, but it can be an ugly slab for now. We have room to put tile in there or any number of other things that we dream up. I was really happy with how this turned out. It's a great little bit of character for the front of the house. I was also happy that it was a manageable size project for us to do without really any help from anybody else. As far as jobbing out concrete or any of that business, we did the whole thing ourselves and in a reasonable span of time. So I'm overall really pleased with the result.
We really feel a lot of ownership over this little space, and it feels like the lifestyle that we came out here to live, the DIY and homesteading life.
So I'm going to show you some secret things hidden in the mudroom walls. Over here. Let's start over here. Look around the wall. Look around this window. Look down there. Over here. Seashell. Inside a hole. Have to look carefully. There's some up there. Hole, a marble, and a penny.
It's not a penny, but close.
Wait, I can't see it, so a quarter inside there. A marble quarter. And then a butterfly. Let's look for the butterfly. Butterfly is here.
Should we put him in a jar?
Stella is getting her socks on, and after she does that, she's going to get her shoes on. Then we're going out to have a picnic for lunch. And Mom, there's an ant on your hat.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oops.
It's climbing back there. An ant on you.
So come on back next time. I'll be working on the sawmill for parts of the workshop. See you then.
There. Oh, yeah, right there.
It's a bug, all right. Must be spring.
I'm Nick. Thanks for watching. All right, how do you want this, Stella? Because it's going to be up next to another board.
I think it should look like it's coming out. I think it should look like it's crawling out.
Okay.
So that could freak someone out.